Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast, For Women by Women. The goal of our podcast is to start meaningful conversations with women who are making a difference in their respective industries and paving the way for young women to follow in their groundbreaking path.
The founders of this club, Sabrina Canali and Tiffany Ang, created the Women in Business Club in January of 2021. Our mission is to empower and inform young women about gender inequality in the workplace so we, as a community, can strive to make a change.
This week's guest is Pinos, who is currently graduating from St. John's this spring with her master's in accounting. The SFP alum joins us for this episode to share her experience as an aspiring accountant.
Let's not hold us up any longer as we welcome Catherine on the podcast.
So guys, to start, can you introduce yourself to everybody?
Okay, hi everyone, my name is Catherine Pinos. I graduated from prep in 2020, and after my time at prep, I went to St. John's and I got my bachelor's degree in accounting, and now I'm getting my master's in accounting from there as well, and I'm actually graduating next week, so I'm excited for that. Thank you.
Oh, she's graduating with us.
Yeah. So yeah, throughout college, I pursued a bunch of different internships in tax and audit, and through my last internship I was able to get a full-time offer at a large accounting firm, so I'm looking forward to talking more about that with you guys.
Great.
Questions?
Yeah, so why don't you tell us more about Grant Thorton? And I actually met her at Career Night.
Yes.
I don't know how many of you guys went, but yeah, she was talking to us through the accounting side of it about her internship there. So you want to tell them too?
Yeah, sure. Just about my experience there.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. How you got it. They're really interested in getting internships right now too because they're trying to get some for themselves.
Okay. Oh, it's pretty early. Good for you guys for looking into that. So, I discovered my internship at Grant Thorton. They call it GT for short, so I'll just call it GT. At a career fair at college, they do a lot of meet the firm events where they have recruiters come from all the big accounting firms, finance, a lot of different businesses. They basically come to the school and they recruit interns, usually for the summer. So I met the recruiter for GT there, and we were talking. I said, I was interested in an internship for the summer of 2024. So I interned there last summer, and she told me to apply online. My application went through, interviewed, got the job. So it was a pretty smooth process for me, luckily. And yeah, my internship there, it was nice. It was about 8 to 10 weeks over the summer, full time. So I kind of got a taste of what working full time was like. And I learned a lot. Like I said at the career night, internships in accounting, they're not really you're not your typical intern that you see in the movies where you go and grab a coffee for your manager and stuff. You're actually put to work. So that was interesting, and getting to see what potential full-time job could look like at GT as an auditor. I forgot to mention that too. It was an audit internship. And yeah, after my internship there, I got an offer for another internship there for this past winter. So I was actually working there from January to April, part-time while I was still in school and studying for the CPA exam, which was a lot. And I'll be starting there full-time in the fall, so I'm looking forward to that.
How did you balance school and the internship part-time?
It was a little rough. I'm not gonna sugarcoat things. I definitely am still trying to work on my time management better. Since I was part-time, I was only working 3 days a week. And I went to school at night, Tuesday and Wednesday nights. I had class for 3 hours. So it was pretty tiring. And on my days off, I would do work for school, and I tried to study for the CPA as well on my days off, but that was kind of hard, so that kind of fell through and had to postpone my test date, but it happens. But yeah, it was a lot of work, but I think if you develop a routine for yourself and say okay, on this day, from this time to this time, I'm gonna designate it to only schoolwork or only CPA studying. I think it's good to find a balance, but for me it was a little rough too.
What's a day in the life of someone that does an internship?
Well, as an intern, they have a lot of the big firms, they have a lot of group like networking events to kind of get everyone to know each other, because the people that you intern with are usually the people that you're going to start working full-time with if you like accept an offer. And a lot of the firms, they organize like these events. Like over the summer we went like on a cruise and like around the city, and we also went like bowling, and they just do like events like that just to kind of get all the interns to like get to know each other and like grow like a close bond. So a lot of the internship consists of like events like that. I know a lot of the other firms, they take the interns to like Disney. I know one of them does that, which is pretty cool, but not GT, unfortunately.
But the cruise sounds cool.
Yeah, the cruise is nice. Yeah.
They do these things to like make them want to come back. So
Yeah,
they make
it
an
worked.
offer and they want them to take the offer. So
Yeah.
the summer intern is like it's not as crazy.
Yeah,
as
it's
a
more
real
lax.
job.
Yeah.
It's like more like, let's go to happy hour.
Oh yeah, there were a lot of happy hours, I have to say. Over the summer it definitely was a lot more lax, not as much work. Still had work, but not as much as like now in the winter that it's like their busy season. But yeah, I enjoyed like the summer internship experience, so I would definitely recommend that for you guys if you're looking into that.
So like as an auditor, like in your internship, like what did you do? Like what work did you do?
So do you guys like have an idea of like what an auditor does, or should I like get into
Can you
that?
go into detail?
Yeah,
we're
okay.
curious.
Okay. I gotta think how to explain this in like simple terms. So basically what an auditor does is they confirm like what a company reports like on their financial statements, like their cash, their revenue, their expenses. They basically confirm that what they're reporting is correct. So let's say like you're working at like Starbucks, and like you write down on your statements that you made $1,000 in revenue that day. So what the auditor has to do basically is kind of backtrack and see, okay, like did they actually make that $1,000? So they'll look at like receipts, they'll look at inventory, things to basically judge if what the company reported was correct or not. And if it's not correct, then that's an issue, But yeah, during the internship, as an intern, you're not doing like a lot of like crazy like involved work. You just basically always have to be available to like your team, which usually consists of like 5 to 10 people, consisting of like associates, senior associates, managers, and then like the lead partner who like signs off on the audit. So you basically always have to be available to them, like if they have an assignment for you. So as an intern, they had me like confirming a lot of like statements and amounts from like invoices, making sure that they like match with what was like reported and things like that. So it was interesting, and it was interesting also to get like a full perspective of like the operations of a business, because you kind of see things from the inside. Like you see like where the money's coming from, where it's going out, whereas like on the outside you don't really like see that like as a consumer like to one of these companies. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But I can go into more like tax and audit, like if you guys want to know about that.
Yeah, I'm personally curious. Like, so I was very much looking into going into accounting.
Okay.
So I was talking to my uncle, and he said he does audit, but like he didn't give like such a good description of what that is. Like he just said like, oh, you'll be prepared, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So I was like, I love that, but I'm very curious, and that gave like such a good like description of kind of what it is. But what made you want to do that versus like any other part of accounting? Because I know auditing is not everybody's an auditor. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like the two main branches, like once you graduate like with an accounting degree, a lot of students, they usually go into public accounting, where they work for like one of the big accounting firms. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of them, like Deloitte, PwC, EY, KPMG, GT, BDO, just to name a few. So basically at these firms, you either choose to go down the tax route or the audit route. So for me personally, I didn't know right off the bat that I wanted to do audit, so I tried out tax first. and I did an internship there for about a year and a half at another firm. And like it was interesting, like I enjoyed it, but like a part of me was like, oh, I still want to see like what the other side of accounting is like. So I did the tax internship before I did my audit internship at GT. And you know, you just have to like discover on your own which one you like better. Like if you're not sure, like try them both out. Like a lot of people, they only go into like one thing and then they stick with it. But for me personally, I knew that like, oh, I don't know if tax is, I don't know if I can see myself having a career in tax like for a long time. So I said, oh, let me try out audit, and then I ended up liking it. So
did audit teach you more about like what the business was like rather than tax? Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
I feel like that's something I would like enjoy, so maybe I'm more inclined to that.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more like involved with like the operations of a business like as a whole.
Yeah.
Whereas like with tax, like you're only dealing with like the tax issues. It's very niche, but some people like that. But for me personally, I kind of like seeing the bigger picture for things.
Is there a better work-life balance with one as opposed to the other?
Not really.
They're both kind of intense.
Yeah, they are. I mean, tax is more like rigid. Like, you know, they have the March 15th deadline. They also have the April 15th, and then September 15th and October 15th. So, like, the months leading up to those deadlines is very intense for tax. We're talking like maybe like 50 to 70 hours a week. And that's a more like rigid schedule, so like you know that since those are the tax deadlines, like that's when you're gonna be having like the most work, like around those dates. But like the rest of the year is pretty like smooth sailing. But for audit it's kind of the same, but your deadlines depend on when your client's fiscal year ends. So like a lot of companies, like they don't like close their accounting books at the end of the year. Like they'll close like June 30th or like, I don't know, like the end of February, the end of March. So like it's not always like at the, like on 12/31, for example. So it really depends on what, like when your client's year end is, and that your busy season kind of is fixed around that. But it varies like for every client, but it's still like the same amount of hours, like around like 50 to 70, which is, it's intense, and a lot of people struggle with that, honestly, in public accounting, and a lot of people don't stay that long because the hours are really intense. But you know, I'm gonna try it out for a few years starting out, see if I can handle it, and take it from there. So.
Wait, can you clarify like what's on the CPA exam? Is it like everything you to do both tax and audit? You have to know both, or like like what is? Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's 4 parts, which is pretty intense, and they just had a new rule for the state of New York. Now you have 30 months to pass all 4 sections of the exam. It used to be 18 months, so now they added another year, which is great. Sorry. And there's like 4 main parts. One of them is financial accounting, which is just like, it's kind of like a broad picture of like everything, dealing with like cash, revenue, receivables, liabilities, a lot of the main like accounting issues. That's probably the hardest section of the CPA exam, and that's also the one that I'm studying for now.
Hello.
And then there's an audit section, and then there's also a tax section, and then they just added the 4th section. You get to choose from 3 disciplines that you want to pick from. You get to choose one of the 3. So one of them is like a more specialized like tax version, and then the other one is more about like IT and like IT auditing. Didn't really seem that interesting, honestly. And then the 3rd one is more about like the financial accounting, but like more like it goes more into detail. So I'm probably gonna end up taking that one. I'm not really sure yet. Depends how my studying goes. But yeah, you kind of have to know a little bit of everything to get the CPA license. So that's why, like having the CPA, like you're not only specialized in like tax or audit. Like you kind of have a broad knowledge of everything. Like since everyone has to take those same parts. But then like if you want to specialize like beyond the CPA, a lot of people, they get like a master's in tax, or they get like their LLM in tax, which is like another like master's law degree. I'm not too sure about that. And then for audit, there's like other certifications that you can get. I can go more into that if you guys want. One of them that I've been looking into is a CFE, which is a certified fraud examiner. So that kind of goes hand in hand with auditing. And it's just another exam to take, and then like you're a certified fraud examiner, so that seems pretty interesting. And then with that, you can go into like the government, like the IRS or the FBI or law enforcement, and you get to work with like white collar crime and things like that. And that seems pretty interesting to me. And then there's a lot of other certifications you can get relating to like IT. I'm not too sure about those. I haven't like looked into that. But yeah, there's a lot of options you can take, but the CPA is like the big certification that like when people see that you have it, like you're solid, like, you know, it's a respectable certification to have.
So how have you been studying for it? Are there any specific resources that you have?
Yeah, so actually through my firm, they give us like a learning platform. It's called Becker, and it's basically like a self-study. It's kind of like a Khan Academy or something like that, where there's like videos and questions, and you get to take like simulated exams that they're pretty similar to the actual exam itself. So luckily, like with what a lot of these accounting firms do is that they pay for the course for you, and they say, okay, like if you sign like a full-time offer with us, like we'll give you access to the CPA course. And then a lot of times they'll also incentivize you, and they'll say, oh, if you pass all 4 sections of the exam within your first year of hire, like we'll give you an extra like X amount of dollars like as a bonus. And I know a lot of the firms, they give like, I've heard like $5,000 or up to $10,000 like if you can pass like within the first year, which it's a pretty good incentive, you know, can't lie. But yeah, luckily they do provide those resources for us. So because they want us to get the license, because there comes a point where like if you don't have the license, you can't like move up and you can't get promoted like if you don't have it. So that's why a lot of the firms, the big firms, they encourage you to get the license as soon as you can.
Are you expected to do that while you're working full time? Or different?
I mean, yes, a lot of people, they do try to study like while they work full time. Like for me, I'm gonna try to get as much done as I can before I start working full time, because it's very hard to balance like work and then studying after. Because I know a lot of people, they'll like wake up early in the morning and study like before work, which I could never do that. That's like too early. And a lot of people, they study like after work, but you know, like with the crazy hours, like during busy season, you know, a lot of people, they have to like put their studying to the side and, you know, just focus on work. But yeah, that's why like even at school, like my professors and everyone there, like they've been encouraging us. They're saying like, oh, try to get it done like as soon as you can, because once you start working like full time, it's really hard to. So I'm gonna try to do that. But I do know a lot of people that they're studying while working full time, and it's pretty rough. I mean, it's doable if you're able to like create a good like routine for yourself and you stay disciplined. But I also know a couple people at my firm who they haven't been able to get promoted because like they haven't passed the exams yet. So it could hold you back if you push it off for too long.
Is a lot of it like teach to the test in the way that like a lot of your classes are like directly what's on the exam, or is it more like you have to study outside?
I have found like a lot of things similar. Like when I'm studying for the CPA, I'll be like, oh, like I remember like learning that in school.
Yeah.
But like the CPA is a lot more like in depth. It goes a lot more in depth into like all the topics. So while it's good to have like the background from like school, from like undergrad and like grad school, most of my like learning comes from the actual CPA study materials itself. But it's good to have like that background in accounting also, because it's not like I'm seeing things for the first time, because it's familiar.
That's good.
So how do you manage like social life and time with friends while also studying and working?
It's pretty hard, you know, but you just have to keep a routine, and you have to you have to give yourself like me time, like you have to give yourself personal time, or else like you're just gonna spiral, you know. And like a lot of my friends, like we're all going through the same thing right now. We're all like starting off our full-time jobs, and then we're also trying to study for the CPA. So we're all kind of in the same boat, and we're understanding of each other, like, oh, I need to study, oh, I'm taking the test this day, I can't like hang out, you know, things like that. But I think it's just important to try to keep a balance. Like, don't like push your social life to the side completely, because that's like not good for you or your mental health or anything. So you have to definitely try to give yourself like some like personal time, self-care, you know.
Can you talk more about like St. John's and how they helped you, especially like to build up your career? Like, did they have like career services and stuff?
Yeah. So they actually are. Any of you guys going to St. John's? Have you guys like committed or?
I've gotten invited before.
Oh, okay. Where are you going?
Albany.
Nice.
I'm going to Binghamton.
Oh, nice. I have a lot of friends there.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys seniors or no?
Juniors.
Okay.
Yeah, next year.
Okay.
Thank you for applying.
So yeah, St. John's has a really good like business program, and also with the business program comes like their career services. So they're the ones who kind of organize all the events for the firms to come to the school and recruit. Like, they usually recruit like sophomores or juniors and seniors also, but mostly sophomores and juniors. And they organize these events, and they also have advisors who can like help you with like if you have an interview coming up, like you can go meet with them and you can say like, hey, I have an interview with like XYZ firm, could you help me like prep for it? And they'll offer like mock interviews. This isn't like just St. John's, I know a lot of schools do this, but they'll like help with like mock interviews that like where they ask questions that like the recruiters might ask you in your actual interview. They can also like review your resume, and it's also just good to keep connected with career services, because it's good to kind of like maintain like that network, because they know a lot of people that work at the firms already. And if they know you, and if you stand out to them, like they might be able to like match you up with someone and say like, hey, I have like this student who's like, she has like a great GPA and such, and she's a junior, she's looking for an internship, do you have anything like to offer? So it's good in that aspect that they can, it's good to be close with career services and to have them like within your network. But yeah, overall they've been like pretty helpful with my internships. Like my first one in tax, I found it through like, they have like a website called like Handshake. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it.
My aunt just got a job there like last week.
Really?
She just started working there.
Really? So it's basically,
So she does marketing there.
that's cool. So yeah, it's basically like a platform where for students where it has like a lot of job openings and applications. So after speaking to my career advisor, like he told me like, oh, like there's this internship like on Handshake if you want to like apply to it. And you know, that's how I found my first one. And then my second one with GT was, I found that through an actual like in-person like career night type of thing, where they had all the firms come to the school. But once again, that was organized by career services. So luckily they were able to like have that kind of like network to bring like all the firms over to the school, and then like you take it from there. You go up to all the firms, introduce yourself, have your little like 30-second like sales pitch, and you know, just say what you're looking for. And but yeah, like to answer your question, they like career services is very helpful in like preparing you to find a job.
Well, what about like the competition and like how do you make yourself stand out? Like, what did you do?
Well, I think a big thing is like just to be yourself. I know a lot of people, they get caught up with like, oh, I need to like have like a perfect like 4.0 GPA. And I'm not saying to let your grades slide, because your grades do matter, especially starting out, since you don't really have work experience. So like a lot of firms like will prioritize like your academic standing and your GPA. But I lost my train of thought.
She said the competition for like on hand for the job.
Yeah, so I think just like, do you mean like online, like having like a like your
like both at the events and then also
Okay.
like online, because they only have like a certain amount of positions and there's so many applicants.
Well, definitely try to keep your grades up, and then like for the in-person events, like just be yourself, like be like personable. Like the recruiters aren't going to want to hire someone that's just like very like drab and like just standing there, like isn't able to like carry a conversation. That's a really big thing now. Like a lot of like firms and recruiters have been complaining that a lot of the students are just very like quiet and like timid, and they don't have like a personality. And a lot of people are getting rejected from interviews because of that. Like when you're interviewing someone and like the other person like can't carry a conversation, or they just seem very like scripted, like they're reading off a script of like questions, you know, they don't want that, and they don't see like the potential. So it's very important to make yourself stand out like through that, and just like be personable, try to build as many connections as you can, like within like your major, but also with alumni also. Like a lot of schools, like they have alumni come visit, like who work in that field. So kind of like how I came to visit prep, you know. They also do that at college, where they have like alumni who work at these firms, and they also come to the school to help recruit. And it's a lot easier talking to those people because you have that like common ground of like going to the same school. But yeah, aside from like your grades and being personable, I think just another thing to add is to just try to involve yourself in as many things as you can, like clubs, extracurriculars. You guys are already doing a great job being involved like with this at prep, because that will help you stand out like starting out, since you don't have like internship experience or even any kind of work experience. Like that will also help you stand out, because a lot of people don't have anything. And also there's a lot of certifications that you could get like online, like once you start like college, relating to accounting or relating to like using Excel, because Excel is like a huge tool that you use, and that'll also help you stand out.
I know you mentioned in like your description that you first started undeclared.
Yeah.
So like, what about accounting clicked for you, which like made you decide to declare accounting as your major?
Okay, so yeah, I came in undecided. Honestly, I left high school thinking that I wanted to do something in like STEM, something like science related.
Did you
mostly.
take accounting here?
No, I didn't.
I would have been a teacher.
I like didn't know that like they had like business classes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, because you're saying you were in the more science, so a lot of science kids don't end up in the
Yeah,
science.
like I took like AP Bio and like
Yeah.
all that stuff
Yeah.
like while I was here. So that was interesting. But yeah, I went in undecided, and then while I was in college, I was trying to figure out like what my interests were. And I knew coming out of high school, I was into like science and math. Like math was always like my strong subject, like in school, and I enjoyed it. So I thought at first like, oh, maybe I'll come in like as a math major, or I'll do like education, but like with a math concentration, or I'll do something like businessy, because I knew that like finance and accounting and economics, like they're all kind of like involving numbers, and you know, like I had a love for numbers. And I kind of fell into accounting because I was talking with my like freshman advisor, picking classes for my second semester, my first year, and I expressed to her like, oh, you know, I'm interested in math, and she said, okay, well, we could go two different ways. You could take the education route or you could take the business route. But if you take the education route, like, you have to commit to that from now. And honestly, I wasn't ready for that kind of commitment. So I'm like, all right, like, I'll take the business route then. And then I took an accounting class and an economics class, I believe, in that semester. And I just really liked accounting. I like how it's very involved with, like I said before, you kind of see, like, all aspects of a business. And, like, I don't know if you guys have heard the saying, but accounting is the language of business. So you have to know, like, accounting to understand, like, the basic, like, concepts of how any business runs. So that really clicked for me, and I just enjoyed the class. Like, I found it interesting. I know a lot of people, like, they just commit to the major because, oh, it has, like, a stable career or it makes it good money. But honestly, I found it very interesting, and that's why I committed to it. But also the fact that it was a stable career was just an extra plus. So yeah, I really liked my accounting class, and then I ended up declaring as an accounting major. And with that, I also took, like, other business classes as well, like finance, marketing, management, economics, but none of those, like, really clicked for me, like how accounting did. So it's all about just, like, finding, like, your niche and, like, what interests you the most. Because at the end of the day, like, I think that you should pursue, like, a degree that you're also interested in, and not just something that's, like, for the money or for the job. Because if you don't enjoy what you're doing, then, like, I feel like there's no point.
Any questions, guys? Okay, so before we end then, we like to ask all of our guests one last question. Can you share, like, a story or a lesson that you learned, like, throughout your journey through accounting, that you want to share with all of us today?
Like advice as well.
Yeah, maybe something that really
Parting
impacted you.
advice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, this isn't really, like, relating to accounting specifically, but, you know, going into college now, you guys are, like, entering, like, your prime years. One thing I want to say is, like, don't be afraid to, like, try new things, and don't feel ashamed if you don't know, like, what you want to do, like, right off the bat. Like, you know, I went into college undecided, and, you know, I kind of was just letting the wind take me, like, you know, I didn't really know, like, what I wanted to do. So yeah, I would just say, like, try not to get, like, hung up on the fact that, like, you don't know, like, if you don't know, like, what you want to do, because, like, you will figure it out. Like, you will find something that interests you. And just, like, in college, like, take advantage of, like, every opportunity that, like, comes your way, whether that is, like, like, from, like, a social aspect or a career aspect, or if there's, like, I don't know, like, if there's, like, events going on at school, like, don't like, pass up on, like, any of those opportunities, because you never know, like, what could come out of that. From a business perspective, like, they have a lot of, like networking events at school, and, you know, they might seem like a drab, like, oh, I don't want to go to this or whatever, but you never know, like, who you might meet there. You might meet, like, a good connection that might be able to, like, hook you up with a job, like, a few years down the line. So that's just a really important thing, like, just, like, networking, putting yourself out there, like, just be yourself, you know.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you guys.